Well, the big story back home is that the second dry run for the COVID vaccination is going to be held in all the states on Friday. And the first massive dry run, remember, was held on the 2nd of January. Now, the exercise had checked the best way to vaccinate people against COVID and plug loopholes in logistics and training. Union Health Minister Harshvardhan, during a video interaction with states and union territories, said that the feedback on the dry run of the COVID vaccine in 4 states was reviewed and they've made improvements based on the feedback that they received, and that tomorrow the dry run will be done in 33 states and union territories. The day-long drive will again test the operational feasibility of CoWIN, the application in a field environment. That's short for COVID Vaccine Intelligence Network. CoWIN is a digital platform to roll out and scale up the vaccination drive. The government has said vaccination for COVID will start within 10 days from the day when vaccine makers were given emergency use authorization. India, remember, has cleared Oxford AstraZeneca's Covishield, which is manufactured by the Serum Institute of India, and Bharat Biotech's Covaxin. Well, people have lots of questions now that the vaccine rollout is imminent, and to talk about that and answer those questions, we're joined by Dr. Sunila Garg, Director and Professor Community Medicine, Maulana Azad Medical College, and member of the Delhi COVID Task Force. Also, Dr. Swapnil Parekh, Internal Medicine Consultant and author of the Coronavirus book. Thank you so much both for joining us. Dr. Sunila, first to you. It's great to see this kind of preparation that is being made here in India, given what we're seeing in the UK and the US, where the vaccine rollout is moving at a very, very slow pace.
Yeah, thank you so much for this question. Actually, I'm a professor of excellence at Maulana Azad Medical College, and I'm actually providing expert inputs time to time, to different organizations. Now, first of all, your question was that we are really prepared in terms of vaccine rollout, because you see, our vaccines are available, number one, but they have to be transported to different vaccination sites, and we have already identified different vaccination sites, and dry run already took place on 2nd of January, and now the second dry run will take place tomorrow based on the feedback regarding the CoWIN app application. And overall we have to look at the operational part of it, like right from the beginning the individual gets the information to the point he reaches to the booth, the crowd management at the booth, and along with that how the CoWIN app functions. Then after that the vaccination takes place, and after that the observation period for half an hour. So total this thing will be observed, and we have to make sure that every individual stays over there for a period of half an hour. So that will be one of the important key issues, which will be, so whatever were the loopholes which we have plugged in, we will be re-looking at them tomorrow in the dry run.
All right, Dr. Swapnil, what concerns do you have? Anything that you feel is an issue? It's going to be a massive exercise, the largest in the world, to roll out the vaccine here in India, though India, many say, is better placed because of, our programs already running, our vaccination programs.
Absolutely. I think our experience with the universal immunization program, which, mind you, is designed for kids, and it is harder to vaccinate children than it is adults. So I think we have the infrastructure in place. I think the dry runs that we've done across the nation, over 1 lakh vaccinators were trained during the dry run. I think our systems are actually geared, our public health systems are better geared for vaccine rollout than they are for other aspects of the pandemic.
Right. Let's just take some of the questions that many of our viewers have been sending us. And first, we have a question from Anish that was sent on Twitter. He wants to know, how long does the vaccine stay effective, Dr. Sunila?
As of now, we cannot say, because we will need really long-term studies to look at that. So to tell, that it will be effective for a period of 1 year, like influenza and a flu vaccine. So it is not possible to comment right now, but we hope that at least for a year, this vaccine will be effective in 2 doses.
Right. And Dr. Swapnil, that, the flu vaccine, as Dr. Sunila said, that's something we have to take every year for infection. So possibly even this one is something that will have to be taken yearly, is what many are saying.
So there are 2 components to this. One is the immunity generated post-vaccination. The early evidence that post-infection and well, not immunization, but post-infection, and we know generally immunization produces even more durable immunity, that the immune response is quite long-lasting. We hope it may be several years. There was a study that came out yesterday in Science about this. The other is, how quickly can the virus evolve to beat the vaccines? we are starting to see worrying signs that there is something called antigenic drift, where the virus can change slowly. And with influenza, we see something called antigenic shift, where it changes rapidly. So if we start to see these things happen with this virus, then the vaccines may need to be updated regularly. As of now, we have reason to hope that they'll work for a long time.
Well, we're already seeing those mutations. We have a question from Manish from Delhi. Let's just listen in.
Hello, doctor. This is Manish from Delhi. My question is for elders. What precautions they should take before going for the vaccination?
Dr. Sunila?
I think, basically one thing which I tell before every vaccination is that they should not be having any fever or anything on that day, number one. Number two is that they should not go empty stomach. So there is no other special precaution for the elderly. So they can go to the booth safely and with a positive frame of mind that they are going to take the vaccine.
Right, and it is the elderly who are, first in line, of course, healthcare workers, doctors. And when can, Dr. Sunila, when can people like us expect to get the vaccine?
After 50 years are over, that's where, we will be going down below. But below 50, we are also addressing individuals with comorbidities like diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, cancer, stroke, or chronic respiratory diseases. So that's after we complete till 50. So then only we'll be able to go down below. So after,
do you have any sort of timeline in mind? Because if we do begin the vaccination starting next week, in January, do you think it'll take 6 months, 8 months, 1 year? Do we have any idea at this point?
Till July, we can say that we can be covering these 3 crore individuals, 30 crores rather. We are looking at that. And then, after that, we can think of, rolling out to the other group of individuals. That means the younger individuals.
All right. We have another Twitter question from Said Shah. He says, don't you think India has come out of this pandemic as every day cases are going down? Dr. Swapnil, your response to that, because it is quite interesting to see how in India every day we're seeing the cases under 20,000, while in the US and UK the cases are just exploding.
It has been interesting, and we're fortunate that cases have gone down. But we should also note that in several countries, cases went down to 0 and then exploded again. So we need to be mindful that we are not out of the pandemic. We are doing well. But right now, our best hope of getting out of this pandemic is a quick immunization rollout. Gargi, just one thing I wanted to say, you mentioned what can elders do to stay safe. While the other panelists did mention some good tips, I think one of the other things that you need to be mindful of is to make sure you don't get infected when you actually go for the vaccination. So a lot of people would have been staying at home, would have been safe, would have been distancing. There may be some crowding and chaos at the vaccination centers. So please do not hoard N95 masks. But one of the most effective things you can do to stay safe in a crowded environment is get one N95 mask, and you can wear a surgical mask or a cloth face covering over it to preserve it and extend its life. You can use that to stay safe when you go to the vaccination site and make sure that you don't get infected when you go to a crowded setting.
Right. Dr. Sunila, as you're someone who's involved with this whole process, that is probably something that's going to also be taken care of at the vaccine centers, though it's always a worry, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's where, we have involved a lot of volunteers in crowd management and all that. So it is better if the individuals, are coming in a phased manner. So, and also at the booth, they maintain the social distancing, and sanitization is also an integral part which is present over the booth. So before the individual enters the vaccination booth, he or she is going to sanitize the hands, the temperature is going to be recorded, then subsequently he goes for his verification. So that is how we are taking care that all individuals are taken care properly in the real-time settings also.
All right, we have another Twitter question. Said Kazi wants to know, many are saying that our vaccine's efficacy is 60 to 70%, whereas Pfizer and others have 90 to 95%. Why such a large margin? Dr. Sunila?
Yeah, first of all, you see, we have to understand that each vaccine is on a different platform. Some of them are RNA vaccines, some of them are adenovirus, genetically engineered vaccines, some of them, and then we have, the attenuated vaccine. So number one is that right now we are talking of, safety, immunogenicity and efficacy based on the basis of trials. when ultimately the thing what will happen is, which we have to bring to the knowledge of people, is that when the vaccine is thrown open to the masses in public in the post-marketing phase, we call it as phase 4, then actually we will know the effectivity of the vaccine, which is usually done in cases of normal immunization programs in whichever vaccines have been manufactured, except the ones like Ebola and all, which were also given emergency approval. So we have to see that the efficacy, as of I see that efficacy more than 50% is very good efficacy in our settings, and particularly in situation like pandemic, because which will help us to develop the herd immunity and help in winning of the virus across, from our country and hopefully from the globe.
Right. I have time for just one last quick question. And Dr. Swapnil, to you, Raj Shekhar wants to know, if I still get affected by COVID after vaccination, who should I sue?
If you still get COVID-19 after vaccination, well, I suppose that's a question for a lawyer. I don't believe there's any mechanism to sue anyone.
Absolutely. And there are 2 doses, remember, that's also one of the points, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to be confident in our vaccines. As soon as a vaccine is made available to you, and once it's gone through phase 3 trial and your doctors had a chance to review publicly available data, I think you should jump at the opportunity to take it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Swapnil and Dr. Sunila, for joining us and answering all those questions our viewers had.